Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. So we only got 8 more days until September 2nd, the anniversary of Japan surrendering, and bismuth played a huge role in that. It was the starter for the atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And so on September 2nd, 2023, I'm hoping to organize another hunt brothering of the bismuth market. I hope you will join me in doing that. And I like it, even though I haven't really gotten much going in terms of the price. I got a lot of people involved in it. Every so often I see a video of somebody joining in, and I wish this would happen with my movement on the eating disorders. So for example, I go to a board game meetup every Saturday, and one time one of the opponents there, he wanted to play something with me, but he was eating a pizza, and I have skin sensitivity, so I asked him if he would use like utensils so he wouldn't be touching the cards. It's kind of gross anyway. I didn't tell him this, but I'm thinking, gee, it's kind of gross that you're touching food and then it's getting everywhere anyhow. And so he did that, and then at the end of the game he complained that because he used utensils that he was eating so much slower, he felt stuffed and he wasn't able to finish his pizza. And instinctively, without even thinking, I said, "Isn't that great?" And he said, "No, it's not." And as if the goal was to finish his pizza. His goal should be to enjoy it, not to finish it. But he doesn't seem to get the message. And as I left that day, I told him, you know, if you get a chance to think about it, if you think that eating less is good anyway, you can always feel free to use utensils even when I'm not here. And he still he said, "I'll think about it," but I don't think he really thought about it. And then not long after, I saw him using his hands again anyway. See, I wish I could get the same kind of following with the eating disorders as I do with the buying bismuth. I was working at a tutoring center, and one of the kids, his mom came in really upset. The kid's 16 years old. He's studying AP history, and he learned about the Hunt brothers, and I told him that bismuth is an even smaller market than, or he learned about GameStop, and I told him the bismuth market is even smaller than that. And not long after, he started buying bismuth. He took some money that he had been saving to buy a car. He didn't really need a car. I mean, he lives walking distance to all the places he wants to go to. When he goes off to college, it doesn't seem like he needs a car anyway. So he took some money that he had been saving to buy a car, and he bought bismuth. I didn't know about this yet, but one day his mom comes storming into the tutoring center to ask me what the hell I'm doing recommending his son buy bismuth. I didn't recommend her son buy bismuth. I was just talking about how this could be parallel to what's going on in GameStop, because GameStop had happened not that long ago. And it's great. Even though she complained, even though our boss was upset, I'm glad I'm getting a following. Anyway, my mom had an upsetting situation one time, and she warned me about recommending all these investments. I really don't recommend investments. I just tell people what I do. My mom had gone to file her taxes one year. This was in the late 1990s. And her tax preparer had noticed that she had all this money in a savings account and suggested maybe she should invest it. I think she might have had 5 or 6 figures in her savings account. And the tax accountant will say, "Gee, have you seen what Disney stock has been doing?" Now my mom didn't take the advice, but she told a few friends and all that. And one of her friends lost a lot of money doing that. And they haven't been on good speaking terms since then. I mean, my mom didn't even invest in the Disney stock. Now, I would never do this. I only tell people what I invest in. But I've been getting a lot of following as of late. And anyway, some good times. People used to give each other advice a lot more freely. Nowadays, nobody dares to tell people that maybe they should not eat with their hands. In the past, we used to be more comfortable with giving advice. Now people are very sensitive and all that for some bizarre reason. I'd love to hear advice. I'm sure I'm doing something wrong, but unfortunately, we've become such a sensitive society, which is why I need to move out of the United States, right? I think in Eastern Europe, in Asia, people give personal advice much more freely. We're also not afraid to mingle a lot more there. All right. Oh, I had a dream a couple nights ago about all this. I dreamt that I dreamt two things. I dreamt that it became legal to file a marriage license marrying yourself, because I tried it at one point. And so, part of me likes to think maybe it isn't illegal at all, because when I filed a marriage license in the state of Arizona, their response was that because I listed my name twice, right? Their response was that the two people were too closely related in family to be married. They didn't say that it was the same person. So I like to think that maybe solo sexual marriage isn't so much illegal, it's just a special case of incest, right? And maybe incest will be legal at some point anyway. So I also dreamt that we had some hyperinflation. We had this new currency unit, and I didn't recognize the currency unit, but the first thing I recognized was that bismuth and gold were almost the same price. So I don't know if it's gold going down a lot or bismuth going up a lot. I suspect it's going to be a combination of both in the coming decades. Gold isn't all that rare, actually. To give you an idea of how rare gold is, I play Pokemon TCG sometimes, and I see some of these rare cards, and occasionally you'll see a card that only has like a very small number, a small mintage, if you will, but it's only selling for $5-10 because nobody's buying it. I liken that to the idea of the bismuth market, right? And then there are some cards that are much more common, but going for $1,000, right? And so I liken that to the situation with gold and bismuth. There's just a lot of people hoarding gold for no apparent reason, whereas 100 years from now, there are a lot of people who are going to need bismuth to use in their solar panels, their RTGs, their electronics, their transistors. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Like Show. Bum 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 bum.